I took it one step too far. I originally found this girl completely at random on Tumblr. You know, pretty much just clicking through posts and source links until I stumble upon a picture. Her picture. Oh my god. She is beautiful and sexy. Without a doubt, one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen. I browsed through her Tumblr feed and find all of her other social media profiles through this. All of them. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and her Pinterest. She definitely isn't shy about what she posts. Lots of nudes and other sexy photos, along with just some random day-to-day photos. But man, this girl is breathtaking. One day, I'm going through her Instagram on a third-party site when I notice all of her pictures are geotagged. 1, 2, 3, and so on. Geotags mapping out her entire life. Holy shit, it can't be. These tags. Most of her tags are from less than an hour from me. This girl doesn't live across the world or anything. She's within driving distance. And that's when it started. I don't know what got into me, but I just started digging deeper. I just had to. Over the next few months, I put together all the pieces from her different social media profiles. I figure out where this girl lives, where she works, where she goes to school, what she's studying, what campus she was in, what building. I even started to figure out her schedule. I figure out who her closest friends are, their names, and even where they live. I figured out where her parents live too. Her sister, and her boyfriend. She took so many photos of the inside of her house, I could almost draw up the blueprints. I knew where she hung out and the places she visited frequently. I knew what car she drove and where she filled up for gas. To pinpoint some of the locations, I went as far as to use Google Maps satellite and Street View to identify trees and other objects that were visible in the background, and outside of the windows in some of the pictures she posted. I couldn't stop. This was exhilarating for some reason. I'm not supposed to know this, and I'm certainly sure no one else is too. One day, I'm on my way home. I drive around a bit to run a few errands. I pull up to a red light when it suddenly dawned on me. This is the place. I'm in her neighborhood. I recognize everything around me, even though I'd never even driven here before. I recognize the sign, I recognize the stores, the trees. I'm here. It's not a game anymore. When the light turned green, I decided to go. I went for it. I drove around the neighborhood until I got to her street. There it is. I'm driving down and right ahead is her house. Her car. Her. Everything I pieced together was real. Not just a bunch of ones and zeros anymore. I drove by, just looking at the house. I know those curtains in the window. They're the ones she posted in a picture a month ago. What the fuck am I doing? I hit the gas, and I drive right home. I had to leave. This is not a game, you idiot! It's someone's life! I'm not sure why I'm sharing this. It's been over a month since I last drove past her house, and I haven't even thought about continuing my stalking since. But I just needed to share this for some reason. It was a strange feeling, even if it doesn't sound that interesting to others. At the least, take this as a warning to protect your identity online. Individually, she wasn't posting much information, but I guess she wasn't expecting anyone else to find it. I am a crazy, obsessive stalker. Okay, here's my confession. I am a definite stalker and out of control whenever I have a crush. It took me actually years to get it to finally hit me. Whenever I have a crush, it completely blows me out of proportion. Of course, the typical crush everyone has probably experienced all those butterflies and a tad of nervousness whenever their interest is around. Yes, I have that, but there is more. Much more. My grades slip. My crush is constantly on my mind. When I wake up, they're usually the first thing I think of. I make sure to be able to discover every single social media post they have. I make sure to see every post, every comment, every friend, every photo they're in. I'll usually check their social media 4 or 5 times throughout the day. I'll also do a Google search on them, hoping to stumble across anything new. I track down where they live and compare the distance of the address from my house to theirs. I never go by or do anything though. I never want the crush to know how obsessed I really am. I don't really get jealous. Okay, I lied. I get jealous. A lot. I try not to show it though, but it feels horrible. I hate their friends immensely. I obsessively look at my crushes and want to constantly be around them. I go crazy over the weekend because I don't know how much time it's going to be before I see them again. How I like someone is basically determined by how long I spend around them. The less I see them, the less I like them. The longer, the more. For instance, in 5th grade, I really liked this guy. In 6th grade, the same guy. I became obsessed with him. Summer rolled around and I stopped. School started, I started liking him again. Repeat the same cycle for 8th grade. Then he moved away for good. And, well, I stopped liking him for good. A crush for 3 years I didn't even get over on my own, since I was technically forced to. There are so many times things restrained me. If I didn't care so much of what my crush thought of me, I would show up to his house and look in through the window, hoping to see him. I would pester all of his friends to get every bit of info about him. Judging from what I have said so far, I'm guessing that most of you would assume I'm a pretty violent person. Like how a lot of those psychopaths and Reddit stories end up being. Like those crazy exes and admirers. Nope. I'm the opposite of that, in fact. No one that I know would even think of me as such. I'm bubbly and kind, and I'm pretty nice towards those who are kind towards me. It never results in physical violence, unless playful wrestling with my friends. No one even has a clue of how obsessive I get. I hate how I get so attached to people. I like someone currently for 6 months and despise myself for it. I pretend not to be obsessed all the time and refrain from speaking about the person 24/7, because I don't want my friends and, most importantly, my crush knowing it. Bottom line is, I need to get control of myself, but I can't. Keep in mind, this is just a light description of my issue. I feel a lot more than what I described here so far. You know, that's about it. I'm a stalker, but hey, at least I'm one that's willing to admit it. Maybe you'll feel some remorse for me. I'm 16 years old and male. When I was young, I lived in City A. When I was 7 and going into 2nd grade, over the summer I moved to City B. But when I was in 1st grade, I had a lot of friends, one of whom was a girl. We got married, and we were best friends, and I have a lot of sweet and fond memories of being with her. So I moved away, and of course, I remembered her, but we were still little kids, so we didn't communicate, and I was used to moving around a lot before 2nd grade. But my family ended up staying in City B for good. Anyways, she still crossed my mind every now and then, but I grew up and finished elementary school and middle school, and now here I am as a junior in high school. So this past spring break, my family traveled around for my sister and me to look at local colleges, and we happened to visit City A. At this point, I hadn't thought about the girl for a very long time. We took a detour and drove by her old house in the elementary school I went to, and it made me super nostalgic. I remember the girl's name, and during the car ride, I looked her up on Facebook. I was really surprised. She had grown up so much, it was insane. I barely recognized her. It had been nearly 10 years since I had seen her last, so it was wild to me that I could see her face again. Not in person, though. I friended her, and looked through some of her pictures because I was so fascinated. At this point, I feel a tad creepy for looking through all the pictures she had on Facebook that were available to the public, but I excused myself and went on with life. After a couple of days, I became bothered that she never responded to my friend request. Maybe she hadn't seen it. All I wanted to do was reconnect with her, so I found her Instagram and followed her public account, and in a moment of weakness, went through nearly half of her pictures. The guilt began here, and creepy is a word that I couldn't stop thinking of as I went through it. Just as a side note, I'm already really uncomfortable writing all this. Anyways, to accompany that follow, I sent her a direct message. It said, "Hey, so you might not remember me, but we actually went to the same elementary school together, and we're really good friends then, but I moved to City B when we were in 1st or 2nd grade. I saw you on here and I thought I'd say hey." I thought it didn't sound too bad, but looking back, I can see maybe I was being a little freaky. Anyways, she never followed me back, and that killed me. That should mean she didn't remember my name. After all these years, I had such clear, sweet memories of us, and she didn't even recognize my goddamn name. It didn't even have to be any sort of romance. I just wanted to talk to her, and for some reason this whole thing just ate me up inside. I thought, okay, well, she probably wasn't in a situation where she was analyzing it too hard like I was. I never quite thought of a new way to contact her, but I thought about it. I figured maybe she did get it, but maybe she hadn't looked at it yet, so I decided to remain patient. Maybe in 2 weeks she would check her Instagram and see my followed message. Who knows? Well, a couple weeks go by. I noticed she posts a couple new pictures, but has not read my message or followed me back. This means she had to have seen me, my name, and ignored at least once, but maybe twice. All the while, I'd been looking at her pictures nearly twice a day. They filled me with such joy and such self-hate at the same time. I started to love seeing her face, but made me feel so gross, creepy, dirty, unhealthy, and weird. All I knew which was true. Eventually, I started finding other stuff by digging. I just wanted to get to know her, but I'm perfectly aware of how horrible this is, but I can't help myself. I found documents about sports competitions she's been in, that she participated in. I found her YouTube account, and started watching the same videos she did. I even started listening to the same music as her. I am trying so hard to get myself to stop, but I just can't. Even though I know, I just can't help myself. It kills me that I'm the reason why people need privacy settings on the internet. And what I'm doing is so wrong. I absolutely hate myself.